Friday night baseball, baby, and you want to know which games you should be betting? Well, you know you're in the right place. It's First Pitch on WagerTalk TV. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and joining me, we got a great crew for a Friday. Some may say a legendary crew, as we got Don Buster, Steve Merrill, and Rob Bino holding down the fort here on a Friday. Before we even get into it, hit that like button. It doesn't take you any time, and while you're right next to it, if you haven't already, that little bell, click that as well. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss when we go live here or when anything is posted to the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. Get in front of line moves. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's start it off with my man Don Buster. I know he's excited. So we got MLB, we got football, we got CFL, and NHL is right around the corner as well. That's right. You're going to see him as a guest on Puck Time here on WagerTalk TV, but we're not here for hockey. We're here for big game breakdowns, DB, and you want to take a look at the Cubs and the Diamondbacks. Interesting enough, just 5 days ago, we had these two teams facing off. It was a 4-game set. D-backs won 3 of them, but Chicago did salvage with the win at the end. So do we think the Cubs start off this series how they finished the last? Is that how you're going to be betting it?
I do think the Cubs will, win this one at least tonight. As far as I'm concerned, I think we have a real solid pitching advantage in this one. Justin Steele goes for Chicago, and of late, he has just been lights out. He's sporting a 0.43 ERA in his last 3 starts. His last start was against these Diamondbacks, and he held them to 1 run over 7 innings. Now, for Arizona tonight, they'll send Brandon Pfaadt to the hill. And we've been betting against Brandon a lot this year. And he has had a couple of starts he pitched very well, but for the most part, he's really struggled. He's sporting a 6.25 ERA for the season. And then he also sports a 7.30 ERA at home with a whip of 1.72. He also, in his last start, faced the Cubs. He allowed 4 runs in 6 innings, and I think we're going to see more of that again tonight. Both these teams are fighting for a playoff spot. Mind you, both these clubs come in here on a losing streak. Arizona has lost 3 in a row, and the Cubs have lost 2 in a row. But one thing that sets this game apart, where we hit Chicago here, is that besides the big pitching mismatch, in my opinion, this is going to be the first home game off an 8-game road trip for the Diamondbacks. Always love that spot. And even more so, they played in New York yesterday, and now you got to travel. It's not all the way west, but it's pretty far west. And we like that situation. We love the pitching matchup. Give us the Cubs.
I like it. The Cubs looking towards them. That's our man Don Buster. Check him out at wagertalk.com. Steve Merrill is also with us, returning here to First Pitch. Always good to see you, Steve. You want to take a look at the Padres and the A's as you look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm sure none of us are shocked to see the Padres as over $2 favorites as they are visiting the A's. How are you looking to bet this one, Steve?
Interesting game to talk about. Obviously, 2 teams that are out of the playoff hunt. In baseball with a couple weeks ago in September, people all say, how do you handicap these teams that have nothing to play for? Well, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I said, when September rolls around, don't be afraid to look at ugly teams. And the Oakland A's have been historically one of the worst teams in baseball history all season. And they've already hit the 100-game loss mark, which is usually one of the 2 worst teams in the league. And they've still got 16 games to go. So doesn't look like they're going to lose 116 games. They'd have to go 0-16. So they're not going to be one of the 5 worst teams ever. But keep in mind, a few months ago, they were on a pace to be one of the 3 or 4 worst teams, even on a pace to lose over 120 games early in the season, around 116 about a month ago. So they have picked things up a bit. And if you look at them, they've won 4 of their last 7. And going back even further, they've won 7 of their last 13. So they've been above 500 team the last couple weeks. So that's what we talk about, how in September, some ugly ducklings can sometimes be worth a look. With all that said, I actually do not like Oakland in this spot. And first of all, the A's are minus 22.5 units on the money line. San Diego minus 33.5 units. We talked about the Orioles the other day, Dan, how they've been the best moneymaker in all of sports, let alone baseball, the last couple of years. The Padres in baseball, maybe all of sports, have been the exact opposite, the biggest money burner around. So why would you possibly lay $2 with the biggest money burner? I wouldn't, but I do like the Padres -1.5 run line here at -120. And there's a few reasons. First of all, Oakland is still a terrible team. They had the 3-game sweep of the Angels, who had totally tossed the towel at the beginning of September. And then miraculously, they won 2 straight against the Houston Astros the other night. And the Martingale System of the Year liability factor was in Game 3 there. And all those people who love to play these stud teams like Houston not to lose 3 in a row at home escaped probably a 100-1 losing ticket by Houston winning 6-2 because they double up. They double up. If you're not familiar with that method, Google it on YouTube. There's a bunch of people touting it. It's pure suicide. And I was hoping Oakland would win just for that reason. But now the A's return home with the day off, back home after the road trip to Texas against the Rangers and Astros. As our man Jeff Michaels and Ralph Michaels and I have talked about all season long, the best angle in all of baseball betting is fading home dogs after road trips, and it's even better when they have a day of rest. That's the sweet spot here tonight. So I actually think San Diego is worth a look. And I like the fact that they just beat the Dodgers 6-1 on Wednesday. They had a day off as well. They're still traveling in California. This is a spot to play the Padres. I haven't said that often the last couple of seasons, but I think it's the spot tonight. And don't lay the $2. Lay the 1.5 -120 run line.
Yeah, and anytime you get to add a trend into being able to fade the A's, I'm on board, Steve. The run line is worth a look here as you're heading towards the nightcap games. That's the Padres and the A's. Let us know what you're eyeing. You got any run line plays that you like? We still have best bets coming your way. Hop below in the comments and let us know what your best bet is. And while you're down there, get these guys a like. Come on, all this free info they're giving you. Hit that bell as well. Rob Vino is here, and Rob, somebody had to talk Phillies. It's natural for a Friday show that we have to bring up my Philadelphia Phillies. They're taking on St. Louis, and honestly, Rob, it seems like to me, you get into September as a Phillies fan. I know it's fade Nola time. It seems like the last time that Nola pitched very well, it was the last time he faced against the Cards. In his 2 starts this month, it's been 11 runs, 15 hits in 9 innings pitched. Think we could see some runs early on in pitching, or you think maybe even just the whole entire game we might be seeing the bats flying? How are you going to be betting this one?
Before I get into it, should I give you a couple seconds to celebrate the Eagles last night, as long as we're on Philly?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And,
More
and
fumbles.
with the backdoor cover, I had the +6.5 on the Vikings. I love fading my Eagles when they're laying a number, and I love that backdoor cover, brother.
There you go. All right, then. Glad to give you a little time there with the Eagles. Let's get to the Phillies, though, Dan. And, some of the stuff I was going to say, you just said that, referred to Aaron Nola. But let's start with first game of a series. I generally, rule of thumb, don't like to play totals until I know who the home plate umpire is. This one I played blind because I think the numbers are strong enough to go ahead and do it. I played over 8.5 here. I think in some places you have to lay upward of 20 cents right now to get that 8.5. Still think it's worth it. What it breaks down to basically is, can both of these teams get to 4? And if they can both get to 4, then you're going to win this bet. Philadelphia scored 4 more runs in 7 of their last 10. St. Louis has scored 4 more runs in 8 of their last 10. So we got 70 and 80% working for us right now as in last 10 hot streaks for these teams. The Phils, number 7 in Major League Baseball in OPS versus left-handed pitching. And it's because their key left-handed bats hit lefties. They don't shy away. Bryce Harper, 279 batting average, 369 on base, 847 OPS against left-handed pitching. Pretty good for a left-handed hitter. Kyle Schwarber hits a home run every 13.3 at-bats against a lefty. That's kind of like Babe Ruth there. 21 of his 43, almost half, have come on the road as well. And Bryson Stott, who I would label as the other key left-handed bat in this lineup, 284 batting average, 344 on base percentage. Again, against left-handed pitching. So they don't have these left-handed outs in their lineup when a lefty is on the hill. For St. Louis, they probably get Wilson Contreras back into the lineup yet. I haven't seen it officially, but they're going to activate him, they talked about putting him back in. He got hurt Wednesday. I think he'll be back in there tonight. It should help. For St. Louis, home offense is their best offense, nearly 20 percentage points better at home in all 4 categories across the board: batting average, on base, slugging, and OPS. just a better hitting team at home.
Mm-hmm.
The starting pitchers here, a little bit questionable. Aaron Nola, we'll start with him, Dan, because you brought up his last 2 starts, so I won't repeat the numbers. And prior to that, it was the game against St. Louis. We went 7 innings, 1 hit, 9 Ks. Very good outing for Aaron Nola, but he's been so sporadic this year. I want to give you a quote from Aaron Nola, which I thought kind of gave me the picture that he's a little bit not right mentally at this point in time. He's a veteran pitcher, and you would think that they can shake off things, but it doesn't seem like Aaron Nola is shaking this off that easily. Last start, he gets a 5-0 lead against the Marlins, chokes it up in the 5th inning. And when asked after the game, he said this. He said, "It's not mental. I felt fine all day until the 5th inning. It just unraveled on me, man. I feel like it's gone that way all year long. One big inning does it for me." Doesn't sound like quite the confident Aaron Nola that we've known in the past. And
Yep.
I think if you break it down even further, you would think that Aaron Nola at home would have more difficulty than on the road. But this seems to go back and forth year by year with him. This year, he's been bad on the road. His home road splits, like so many other pitchers in Major League Baseball this year, have significant differences for Nola. At home, his ERA is 3.44. On the road, 5.66. Goes up over 2 full runs on the road. 1.30 whip on the road, only 1.00 at home. Big difference there. His road OPS is 142 points higher than it is home at Citizens Bank. Strikeout to walk ratio goes way down when he's on the road. So again, you don't want to play this guy when you're on the road with the Phillies. The competition here, Zach Thompson, I would immediately point to his competition. You know, if you just look really quick, surface value at his last 7 starts, you would say, wow, this guy's given him 5 good innings just about every time out. Then you look at who he's pitched against in these 7 games. 3 times against Pittsburgh. They rank in the bottom 5 in 12 of Fangraph's top 14 batting categories. So Pittsburgh, terrible offense. The other teams are the Mets, Cincinnati, the Rockies in St. Louis, not in Coors. So we know the Rockies are a bad road hitting team. And San Diego, the best team he's faced of that bunch offensively is San Diego, 15th best OPS in Major League Baseball. So from midway down is the competition he's faced. Philly, they rank 5th in OPS in Major League Baseball. I think it's a pretty significant step up for him here. I don't think he's going to have a lot of success against a hot-hitting Phillies team. For that matter, I don't think Aaron Nola will have a lot of success the way he's throwing right now. So I think 9, let's put it this way, guys. I think one of these pitchers gets hit hard. I think both of these teams can find their way to 4 runs. Mathematics tell me, Steve Merrill, mathematics I'm going to use for you here on the show. Mathematics tell me if they both get to 4, we get over 8.5. So we'll play it that way. Philly, St. Louis over 8.5.
Yeah, and I love the breakdown too, because if you even just take out, the specific pitching matchup, this Cardinals team has started hot as of late. They've hit their first 5 innings, team total over in 9 out of their last 11 games. If you blindly bet their team total over in the first 5, the Cards, over these last 11, you'd be up 7 units. So hard to disagree. And I'm always down to be fading Aaron Nola. I said for a long time, Wheeler's that true ace. And now finally people are starting to believe me. That's Rob Vino. Check him out at WagerTalk.com. Little shout out to our man Steve Merrill there as well in the breakdown. I like it. Friends helping friends here. Experts teaming up with experts here, guys. All right, Don Buster, it's best bet time. Folks, make sure you're hopping below in the comments and let us know what your best bets are. We have some folks letting us know they think there might be some barking dogs on the car. You got any plus money plays that you like? Let us know below. But Don, let's take a look at this Rangers and Guardians game, because you want to take a look towards the total here. And I'm interested to see your breakdown, because this one opened at 8.5. It's now sitting at 8 pretty much across the WagerTalk live odds screens. So do you agree with that move towards the under, or you think that might just give us some more money or a potential value here on back in the over? How are you betting it for the best bet?
Well, if you're, I am actually going to back this on the over here. But for me, I grabbed that over this morning because I actually wrote to my clients that get this now because it's going to hit 9 by game time. And I tell you, I write that stuff all the time since I've been here with WagerTalk, over 7 years. And I'm very seldom wrong on that. I am actually shocked, Dan, that this thing went down to 8. Now, I know Cleveland is a pitcher's ballpark. That's fine and dandy, but this Texas Rangers team are just crushing the baseball. And we've been playing the over on the Rangers a lot in this last week from time to time, and they've been just money. They're the number one team in Major League Baseball in runs scored, and they get to get their wax tonight at Lucas Giolito. Now, it hasn't been the year that Lucas has wanted. There's no doubt about that. He has been horrific in the month of August. Has a 7.24 ERA with a whip of 150. You know what? September hasn't got much better for Lucas either. He, in 2 September starts, 11.70 ERA. And I just can't see, Dan, that he's going to get any better facing this Texas club that just put up 35 runs against the Blue Jays in 4 games. And they're just on fire right now. And after they had that really rough run there about 2 weeks ago. For Texas, though, and Al, I'm going to add one more thing. They've already seen Lucas. They faced Lucas in August, and Texas scored 4 runs on him in 6 innings. And that's when they weren't really playing that good of baseball. So could be pretty ugly. It could be a bunch of crooked numbers for Texas tonight, in my opinion. John Gray faces pitches for Texas tonight, and he's been steady all year, but he's really struggled these last 3 starts, sporting a 5.93 ERA with a whip of 1.60. Now, the last time the Gray faced Cleveland, he actually allowed 4 runs in 6 innings. That was just about a month and a half ago, I believe. Like Cleveland to get some runs here. Really like Texas to keep hitting the ball the way they're hitting. As I said, when I saw 8.5, I jumped right on it. It's down to 8. The lineups are all the same. No one's, unless somehow somebody found out that Lucas Giolito made some deal with somebody that he can actually have a strong outing tonight. I'm not sure where you see this at 8. So getting 8 right now, when people watch this video, jump all over it because I got to believe it will go back up. So anyways, and just one more thing, Dan. Now Texas has gone over the total in 11 of their past 12 games. As we old guys say, if it's not broke, we're going to take Texas over here.
Going over the total, not afraid of the market move. What do you folks think about that one? 8.5 down to 8. Are you playing over or under? Our man Don Buster says up and over the total. And if you're interested in this game, well, you definitely are in the right place because Steve Merrill now wants to break down the side. We talked all about the total, but how does this all factor in, Steve, as you're taking a look at the Rangers and Guardians? How are you going to be betting who's winning the game?
Yeah, we're going to look at a free play for tonight on Friday at 7 Eastern in Major League Baseball. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L. I post a lot of information every day. And something I posted today is the fact that the Rangers going into Toronto were just 37-42 straight up this year against winning teams. After sweeping Toronto, they're now 41-42. But that means they're 41-22 against losing teams. And they face one tonight in Cleveland. So there's just one way to play this game, and that's the Rangers as the short road favorite for numerous reasons. First of all, they're red hot. 6 straight wins now. They've had double-digit hits in 4 of their last 5 games, so nothing misleading about the offensive output that has seen them score at least 6 runs or more in 5 straight, 9 runs or more in 4 of those last 5 games. And now they face a Cleveland team that's heading in the opposite directions. They're not going to win that division. They're in big trouble now in the wild card standings as well. Their season is basically over. They've dropped 4 of their last 5 and 7 of their last, actually, I believe 8 of their last 11 now. So this is 2 teams heading in opposite directions. And on top of that, the Guardians fit our favorite baseball angle that Jeff Michaels pointed out months ago on Wager Talk today. Ralph, Jeff, and I have all talked about it all season long. Home dogs returning off extended road trips are bad plays, and they're even worse when they have a day off. And that's exactly what the Guardians face here. After 7 straight road games in California, they got back a day off, just enough time to focus on groceries, the family, and all the other distractions of home during a losing slide as well. Things do not get better tonight. And to put in perspective, everyone's talking about how the Rangers are falling apart. They might miss out on the playoffs. They still have the 4th best run differential in all of baseball this year, behind just the Braves, Dodgers, and Rays. And they have the 3rd most runs scored all season, behind just the Dodgers and Braves. In fact, net runs 812 runs. The Guardians just 591. The Rangers have been 200 net runs better than Cleveland this season. Complete mismatch. We have a lot of angles working for us. The momentum continues. Two teams heading in opposite directions. Take a look at the Texas Rangers minus 120 at 7 Eastern tonight on Friday. That game was just a bit outside for making the cut because I've got two strong best bets for Friday in baseball and five, count them, five college football best bets are ready for Saturday. They're loaded right now. Get everything on my page, SteveMerrillWagerTalk.com, and get a full 30 days of college football for just $99 with promo code Steve99, WagerTalk.com.
Huge weekend 5 in college football for our man Steve Merrill. Definitely check him out and take advantage of that deal. A great package there. That's Steve Merrill. An easiest way to get there, WT.buzz/SM. It'll take you right to his page, and you'll check out that deal info right on the sidebar alongside his packages that are loaded. All right, Rob, you're going to get the last word as far as our best bets go here. So let's take a look at Houston and Kansas City. It's funny because the Houston Astros are in the soft part of their schedule, and I put that in air quotes since they're now coming off a series loss against the other team who's at that triple-digit loss mark. As they're facing off against Kansas City here, do they start this series off on the right foot finally? What do you think?
I'm going to start with, Don ended his analysis by saying, us old guys say, if it ain't broke. And I swear to God, the lead sentence on my notes here that I put together for this play we say it all the time on the Wager Talk NBA tip-off show. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you could just start with Zach Greinke being 1-15 this year and say, okay, that's enough. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Go play against Zach Greinke. But there's so much more to this. It's crazy. He's had 26 games that he started this year. 26 times he started. The Royals have lost 21 of those games. That's 80% of the time they lose when he's on the hill. Take the 21 losses, and they've lost by 2 or more runs 16 of those times. So 16 times when he loses, that's 76% of the time when KC loses with Greinke on the hill, they lose by the run line. Those are big numbers all across the board. Bullpen is 28th in WHIP, 29th in ERA and hits allowed, 26th in home runs allowed, 27th in walks allowed. So once Greinke leaves the game, it doesn't get any better for Kansas City. So those numbers are going to give you some chances here if you're Houston. But let's look at the opposite side of the coin here, because Christian Javier and our producer, Robert Harris, will vouch for everything I say here. Christian Javier has not pitched up to expectations this year, but somehow, some way, he's 9-3 on the hill. He gets a lot of no decisions because he's pitched 27 times this year. The Astros, despite the fact that Javier has not pitched well, the Astros are 19-8 when Christian Javier starts. Another great number. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Out of the 19 wins that the Astros have had with Javier on the hill, 15 of 19 have been by 2 or more runs. That's 15-4, 78.9% of the time. When they win with Javier on the hill, they win by the run line. So KC loses a ton by the run line with Greinke on the hill. Houston wins a ton by the run line with Javier on the hill. This is pretty wild with Christian Javier. 27 starts. The team has supported him per game with 6.9 runs, almost 7 runs per game scored every time this guy starts. 27 starts, 18 times they've scored 6 or more. So again, these things happen randomly throughout the year. Some pitchers get a lot of run support year by year, some don't. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Javier gets run support. His biggest problem this season has been walks, but the Royals don't take walks. They're 29th in Major League Baseball in walk percentage, so his weakness doesn't even come into play here. Houston's still involved in that AL West battle, half a game ahead of Texas at this point in time. They don't win home games, which is the strangest thing for the Astros, but boy, they win on the road. 45-27 is the third best road record in Major League Baseball. Here's another one. 45 wins, 36 of those 45 have been by 2 or more runs. So they win by 2+ runs 80% of the time that they win on the run. I mean, there's so many 75% numbers and above in this
Yep.
game that you have to go ahead and play the Astros here. Steve talked about having an angle. I'll talk about having 7 or 8 angles in this game. I'd play the full game because you want Houston to have all 9 at-bats. Houston's got a bullpen edge as the game goes on because Javier doesn't last generally more than 5 innings, 6 innings. So I got to play Houston here, minus the 1.5 runs. Cheap enough price, minus 130.
I like the breakdown there. And I know our producer, Robert, the H-Town King, is loving that one as well. We're laying it minus 1.5. Best bet from Rob Vino in the Houston game. Steve Merrill taking a look towards the Rangers. And in that same Rangers game, Don Buster saying up and over the total. That's the best bet from the crew here. Hop below in the comments and let us know your best bet. While you're down there, hit like, hit subscribe, and don't go anywhere on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Because 2 of these goats right here, they're sticking around. They got the college football kickoff show coming your way. Steve Merrill, Adam Trigger, Rob Vino coming your way here on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. So don't go anywhere. You see the video right beside me. Click it. Stay right here and get all the tools you need to bet all the sports you love only on Wager Talk TV. Best of luck this weekend.